Hey guys, welcome back. I hope you are having an amazing day. Let's get right into the stories. The first one is an entitled People Story. Part 1. Unsettling Beginnings. Moving into my new home was supposed to be a fresh start, a chapter of my life filled with excitement and new possibilities. Little did I know that this promising journey would take an unexpected turn, leading me down a treacherous path filled with deception and betrayal. As I settled into my new house, an hour away from my old property, I encountered a series of unfortunate events. The potential buyer for my old house suddenly backed out, leaving me with the arduous task of selling it while living elsewhere. Determined to make the best of the situation, I attended open houses every week, hoping to attract a buyer's attention. But fate had a different plan in store for me. On the day before a scheduled showing, I made the journey to my old house to ensure everything was in order. To my astonishment, the front door was slightly ajar, and a car sat parked outside. A sense of unease washed over me as I cautiously entered the house, only to find two men standing in the living room, clutching cash and a blender. Confusion mingled with fear as I demanded an explanation for their presence. One man immediately bolted out the front door, leaving me to confront the other, who appeared genuinely bewildered. In a panic, he revealed that he had responded to an online ad, believing that the person selling the blender was the rightful owner of the house. My anger subsided as I realized the man had unknowingly fallen prey to a scam. I implored him to show me the online ads, hoping to gather evidence against the perpetrators. Armed with screenshots, I reported the incident to the police, only to discover that the culprits had used burner phones, leaving no trace of their identities. Frustrated but not defeated, a new plan brewed within me. I installed surveillance cameras to catch the criminals in the act if they dared to return. Little did I know that my battle against these squatters was far from over. Part 2. The Thrill of Justice. It didn't take long for the audacious criminal to resurface. 2 days later, my vigilant cameras captured him attempting to break in through a window. I wasted no time swiftly contacting the police and relaying the live footage of the ongoing burglary. My heart raced as I witnessed the officers storm into the house, prepared to apprehend the thief. But fate, it seemed, had a penchant for testing my resilience. Instead of being promptly handcuffed, the police calmly escorted the trespasser out, allowing him to walk away freely. Outrage coursed through my veins as I struggled to comprehend their leniency towards the man who had caused me so much distress. Determined to seek justice, I delved deeper into the matter. It came to light that during those weeks of absence, the squatter had not only sold my belongings, but had also taken up residence within the property itself. Frustratingly, my quest for justice transformed into a legal battle as I dragged the criminal before a judge. In the courtroom, I beheld the ragged appearance of the accused, who attempted to present himself as a victim of circumstance. Armed with irrefutable evidence, I made my case, highlighting the extent of the squatter's crimes. The defendant tried to justify his actions, arguing that the house had been abandoned and its contents were fair game. The judge, unyielding in their determination, silenced the squatter's feeble arguments. They eloquently explained the law, reinforcing my rights as the owner of the property. The judge saw through the criminal's facade and condemned his actions as trespassing and theft. In a satisfying turn of events, the man was sentenced to a considerably longer term due to his involvement with drugs, namely methamphetamine, which he funded with the proceeds of his ill-gotten gains. Part 3. A Bittersweet Victory. While justice prevailed in the courtroom, the aftermath of the ordeal left me with a mixture of relief and disappointment. The stolen items were irretrievable, their worth inconsequential compared to the harrowing experience I had endured. Fortunately, insurance covered the few valuable possessions that had been taken. Weary from the battle, I yearned to sell the property promptly and put this nightmare behind me. Unfortunately, the incident had deterred potential buyers, and my opportunities to showcase the house had evaporated. Fearful of another intrusion, I took it upon myself to visit the property daily, investing time and gas money to safeguard it from further encroachment. Feeling the weight of this burden, I turned to my aunt for assistance. I asked if she would consider moving in temporarily, providing a semblance of occupancy while I sought a buyer. Graciously, she agreed, easing my worries as I focused on restarting my life. The next one is a pro-revenge story. I lived with 3 people during my sophomore year in college. One guy never left his room. I literally saw him like 5 times. The other guy, let's call him Ted, was kind of a dick but very non-confrontational, and would just leave whenever crap hit the fan. The girl, whom we'll refer to as Looney, was a total ducking idiot. She would blast music late into the night, was a total slob, and mean as crap. For example, she once told one of my friends, who was bi and not fully out, that a real man wouldn't be watching Project Runway, so why are you in our apartment anyways? Mostly she was irritating and messy, but one night she crossed the line. I had gone out with friends, but about an hour into the night, I realized I had left my cell phone at home. I excused myself from my friends and headed down the hill to the apartment. We lived on the 4th floor. When I got into the courtyard, I heard Looney yell, "Hey, idiot, catch this!" I looked up and saw something silver flying at me. I actually hit the deck, not knowing what it was, and heard a crash as my cell phone shattered on the asphalt. I don't know if I have ever been madder in my life. Instead of screaming in the courtyard, I silently went upstairs where Ted was making drinks. Classy folks that we were, he was making Hawaiian punch and vodka. I asked him if he knew Looney was in my room with my cell, where she wasn't allowed, and he goes, "Yeah, but I didn't want her to get mad at me, so I didn't say anything." I decided I had had enough of both of them. I told him I'll get the drinks. I worked as a bartender, so I usually was in charge of drinks. He smiled and walked out of the kitchen. I put the vodka back in the freezer and got the Everclear. A lot of Everclear. Thankfully, the Hawaiian punch and a handful of sugar mixed in hid that fairly well. I went upstairs where Looney was sitting on my bed. She had had a little to drink, but not enough. I handed her one of the drinks and Ted got the other. I explained that I wasn't drinking as I came home due to an upset stomach. And hey, I was planning on dumping that flip phone anyway for a sweet razor, so no worries. Looney grinned and downed the drink. I offered to go get another and she handed me the cup. Ted was drinking slower, but he was a lightweight, so I wasn't worried. Looney downed another drink in quick succession, and then I settled in and waited until I was satisfied that both of them were in blackout mode. I started handing them all of their expensive crap. We're talking laptops, TVs, cell phones, external hard drives, etc. And told them how cool it would be to throw them out the window and watch them blow up like my cell phone. I also told them it was my stuff, so they didn't have to worry about it because I didn't care if they threw my stuff out as long as they didn't touch the gerbil. I'd hand them all the right, aka only their crap, to make sure no one got too excited and hurt the gerbil. Everybody liked the gerbil, so this sentence was received with solemn nods. They began enthusiastically throwing all of their expensive electronics out the window. The entire apartment complex watched them throw crap into the courtyard. We attracted a small crowd of students walking past the complex who stopped to watch. When they ran out of stuff, I helped both of them get to bed over the course of another hour or so of talking them into sleeping it off. They both passed out. I quietly left the apartment complex. I met up with my friends again and told them I needed to stay somewhere for the night. Someone volunteered a couch. The next morning I returned around 10 a.m. and my apartment was in full-out panic mode. Looney was screaming her face off and told me she is going to ducking kill me when she saw me in the courtyard. She was still upstairs in the apartment. Ted was in the courtyard crying openly. Okay, I felt a little bad about Ted at this point. As I went to open the door to my apartment, Looney body slammed me up against the opposite wall, screaming that she was going to kill me for ruining all of her crap. A guy in the apartment across the hall opened up his door and shoved me behind him, telling Looney, "You crazy ducking idiot! You and Ted got drunk off your asses last night and threw all your own crap out the window. Silver Elf didn't have anything to do with it. She wasn't even here, she just got home. Last night she left with her friends to go to dinner way before that crap happened." Looney's jaw dropped open. "But it all went out her window! It had to be her! She was definitely here!" The neighbor shook his head. "Dude, the entire apartment complex saw you doing it. Silver Elf stayed out last night. You're a ducking alcoholic." She started to cry and went downstairs to continue sorting through the wreckage. My cell phone was located and I acted fake pissed, telling both of them they were going to have to pay to replace it. By now, several other neighbors had confirmed to them that they had indeed thrown everything out the window and that I was not home last night. They were both sobbing as they agreed to buy me a new cell phone. Don't feel too bad. Mommy and Daddy paid for all their things to be replaced, but they both had to rewrite some term papers that were lost. They were both notorious after that for being some of the dumbest people on campus. The story of what they did spread like wildfire. The next one is a petty revenge story. When I used to bartend, I tried to have tolerance for people and their situations. Sometimes people would come in with the worst attitudes. Usually, by the time their night was over, there would be some type of calm or apologetic tone when they closed their tabs. Then there was this one girl. She was in her early 20s and was with a guy friend sitting at the bar. I carded them, and she immediately gave an attitude about it. Then, after reading the martini menu, I worked at a bar that specialized in martinis. She made a few comments about how the martinis better be worth it. She ordered her first martini, a thin mint. Her friend ordered a dirty. I made both at the same time, put the glasses in front of them, and walked to other customers. I went to check on them 10 minutes later, and she berated me for the crappy martinis I made, and the thin mint tasted like ass, even though she managed to drink almost all of it. Her friend liked his martini and ordered another, apparently trying to calm her down. I gave her the benefit of the doubt, took the martini away, and asked what she would like instead of that one, also free of charge. She asked for a fruity martini with the same attitude. I made both martinis, set them down in front of them, and walked away. More people came in, and it got decently busy. The other bartender came up to me and said that she wanted to talk to me. I walked up to her, and again the martini, also almost finished, was the worst. And this is the worst establishment she's ever been to, and she won't ever come in again. I gave them the tab to get them to leave. 15 minutes later, she was now yelling about the awful service and telling other customers that they shouldn't stay in the bar with crappy drinks and how she could make better martinis. She was awful, and after her friend paid the tab, no tip, I told her in no uncertain terms that she is never allowed back into the bar. She asked to speak to the manager, and I said I was the manager. Here's the petty part. 2 weeks later, her friend B is having a birthday party at the bar. B's friends are all showing up to celebrate with her. In walks the girl who berated me, the bar, and the other customers. I looked at her and told her that she was not allowed into the bar and needed to leave, that I was not up to dealing with anything out of her mouth or her attitude. She pleaded with me to please let her stay as it's her best friend's birthday, blah blah. B asked if there's anything she could do to stay, so I told them that she can stay, but she cannot say one word or make any sound the entire time she is there. If I or anyone else in that bar hears anything, she needs to leave. The entire night she had to use pen and paper or her phone to communicate. It was also even more embarrassing for her because a few of the regulars who saw her the first time let it be known to the entire bar why she was muted. It became a game with them to try to get her to make a sound. The next one is an entitled people story. So, my wife Zena and I made reservations for a very nice restaurant that opened up in January. However, due to it being posh, new, and apparently having excellent food, my wife and I had to wait until last week in order to get a spot there. So we got a babysitter and a nurse for my granny-in-law, and got all dolled up to go. We took my wife's car, and since it was brand new, she didn't want anyone but herself to drive it. So she dropped me off at the door and went to park the car. Now, it's important to note that we did call earlier and confirm the reservation, so the host was there. Now I am well dressed up. A nice suit, nice haircut, clean shaven, and nice shoes, looking like a man of culture, and not as the tradesman I normally am. I guess at this point I should mention that I am not fully white. I'm Irish-American on my dad's side, but more importantly, I am also half Cuban, which comes from my mom's side. While I do mostly look like my father, I have darker skin, brown eyes, and black hair like my mother's side of the family. From the way the host looked at me, I just knew this was going to be a problem. He had the face of a man that was witnessing a dog taking a dump on the carpet and scrunched his nose like he was smelling its crap. I was thinking I should wait for my wife since the reservation was under both of our names, but he spoke first. Entitled host, can I help you? His tone clearly stated that he didn't even want to look at me. Me, while trying to pretend not to notice. Yes, there is a reservation under Phil and Zena, last names. The entitled host looked at the list. He was clearly not really reading it. Entitled host. No, I don't see your names here. Now, I have experienced this sort of crap my entire life, so I try to remain as polite and professional as possible. Me. Check again. My wife called and confirmed the reservation. He checks again, shaking his head. Entitled host. No, there is no one here under that name. Maybe you and your wife are at the wrong restaurant? Yeah, I knew arguing with this guy was going to get me nowhere, so I just wished him a good evening, turned around and walked right outside. Zena was just about to enter the building as I was coming out. Zena, what's the matter? So I explained about how racism was being a pain again, and she sighed. Zena sighed. What do you want to do? Me. Well, we got the reservation and a night to ourselves. I want to try the food here, and I refuse to let that snot get in the way of that. So you go in, confirm the reservation, and then I'll come in. I hate to say it, but it's a tactic we had to use in the past in order to get into restaurants. Edit. I should mention that my wife is white, hence why we did this. In most cases, it's just the host that gives us the problems. If it's the service as a whole, we would leave and leave a poor review. Still, it's fun in a way. It's still fun to see my wife go in, get us our table, and then me walking in to sit with her. The host looked like he swallowed something really sour as I sat down across from my wife. I half expected him to say something, but he just turned his head away. The service was lovely, the waiter we had was polite and quick, and the food was wonderful. But every so often the entitled host would look over at us and just frown. I saw him turn away 2 more couples that weren't up to his standards. Well, our evening was still wonderful. Despite the nasty looks we got, we still enjoyed our food. Of course, my wife called the owners and let them know what the host did and tried to do to us. She let the owners know that she will not tolerate such intolerance from a man that was turning away business. She added that such a host would eventually cause the restaurant to get a terrible reputation, and they would get into a lot of trouble over it. Well, 1 week later, I was talking to some neighbors and found out that the entitled host was no longer working there. Rumor has it that he turned away over 200 inches customers, not sure if it was true or not, and got fired over this. They hired someone that was much nicer, though Zena and I wouldn't find out until November when we go back again. Still, it's not the first time nor the last time that this will happen to me. Yet, it's still nice to see racist people like that getting wrecked in the end. The next one is an entitled parent story. My husband and I are finally expecting our rainbow baby after years of infertility and multiple miscarriages. It's safe to say that we and our family are very excited. My mother is probably the most excited. She's been planning our baby shower and making decorations for months. She's been the biggest help during this exciting yet scary pregnancy. A few weeks ago, my aunt told my mother and me that my cousin is pregnant. We are very happy for her. However, my aunt said their plan is to announce her pregnancy at my baby shower since we are having a big party anyway. She said it's not a big deal, and we both can share the day. I said absolutely not because we have been waiting for this day forever, and it should be all about me and my rainbow baby. My mother is on my side and told my aunt that they better not announce anything at the party. My aunt dropped it, and nothing else was ever said. Last Saturday was my baby shower. It was everything I've waited for. Everything is going well, and no one has announced my cousin's pregnancy. When it was time for us to eat my cake, my aunt said, hold on, everyone," and went outside to her car to grab something. That was the moment I knew something was up. My mother and I followed her outside, and my aunt decided to bring a cake announcing my cousin's pregnancy and some presents for my cousin. My mother immediately told my aunt that she would not be bringing those back into the rec center, and they would not be ruining my day. My aunt started throwing a fit, screaming, "This is a baby shower, it's for babies. Cousin is having a baby too, so this day is about her too." My cousin now joined the screaming and said how upset she was that everything is always about me, and why do we always have to be happy for me? They would not stop screaming, so they were kicked out by the rec center's security, and half of our family was upset that I wouldn't let her have a moment at my shower. So they left too. Now, everyone is bashing my mother, myself, and our rainbow baby on Facebook, group family texts, anything at all. The next one is an entitled parent story. I, minor, am currently sitting on the toilet, writing this in incredible pain. Last night I was sent to the ER because my stomach was in serious pain. I came back with violent diarrhea and I ended up vomiting blood all over my floor. My mom claims that she cannot take care of it and that I should be able to, even when I am crapping blood. She has been told multiple times for over a year to take me to a gastrointestinal specialist because I'm experiencing symptoms of something chronic, but she will not take me. She believes it is my fault that I am this way, even though I try my absolute best to take care of myself while suffering from severe mental illness. She took their suggestion for me to see a specialist as a "you were wrong" on her part, and is claiming that if I just ate better, I would be fine. She is aware that I am recovering from an eating disorder, and even before that started, I had serious stomach issues. Last night, I threw up blood and bile onto the floor of my room, and I am unsure how to clean it because the smell would most likely make me vomit again. It is a genuine biohazard, but she has forbidden me from cleaning it myself, saying that she doesn't want to deal with me asking how, and that she will take care of it. She said this last night, and now, almost 10 hours later, she has not made any effort to help clean it or tell me how to clean it. I cannot change clothes because it is in my room. I cannot sleep because it is in my room, and I cannot put on pants because it is in my room. When I ask her to just tell me how to clean it, she refuses. I don't know what to do at this point, and it has gotten to the point where the pain in my stomach temporarily paralyzes my limbs and causes me to lose consciousness. No matter how bad it gets, she always ends up saying that there's no way I can have these health problems because I'm too young, even though she goes to the doctor for a minor headache, but won't take her child to a doctor despite repeated referrals from doctors. I am scared for my life as the pain worsens each day, and I am barely able to digest food anymore. I cannot even drink water without risking my body rejecting it. Thank you for watching. I would really appreciate it if you could like the video and subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. We'll see you again tomorrow.